someone had told me last September that 35 years of teaching would end with a world in lockdown because of a deadly virus, meaning that I'd be teaching my final academic lessons in a virtual classroom. I would have referred them, as any English teacher might have, to the science fiction world of George Orwell or H.G. Wells. That is indeed how it is ending, but what better place to come to than this to share a few parting words with you. 20 of my teaching years have been here at Cranleigh. As a house mistress for 9 years in West, that's the original Girls' West, over 700 girls survived what one father described as my tough love approach to house mistressing. I have always believed that to be a compliment. And well over 1,000 Cranleigh pupils have walked into and out of my classroom for English lessons during that time, including the little cell we used to occupy in the old Connell block, which was too small even for proper desks. To pick out particular highlights of my time at Cranleigh is impossible, because there are just simply too many of them. I would rather dwell on the thought, or the hope, perhaps a vain one, that maybe just some of the people who have passed through my care in the last 20 years remember something of what they were taught, or something of what I said to them during their time at Cranleigh. Indeed, when Mrs. Ellis spoke to you earlier this term, she reminded me of something I used to say at the end of every term to the whole house. So at least one person remembered something I'd said. During my time as a house mistress, I must have presided over approximately 27 end-of-term house prayers. This is a time when, as a house, you gather to celebrate the achievements of the house as a whole, or perhaps some of the individuals within it. And maybe in an effort to encourage some of the ones who hadn't been recognised on any particular evening, I would always find a way of delivering the message so clearly remembered by Mrs. Ellis. I will have constructed the words in many different ways, but in summary, the message was always the same. The ones who get the most out of Cranleigh are the ones who put the most into it. This message is still relevant, perhaps even more so than ever, and it does not stop being relevant when you leave Cranleigh. In life, going forward, as in school, nothing worthwhile comes easily. Nothing great can be achieved quickly and effortlessly. You will get out of life what you put into it. If you want to succeed at Cranleigh or beyond, you will have to put more into it than other people do. I won't pretend that this is always as straightforward as it sounds. New technologies, the internet and social media are being designed to make things ever simpler and quicker. Every day we are becoming more of a fast food population in so many ways. Increasingly, we are looking for and expecting ease in all areas of our lives. We scan whatever appears on our social media feeds without really engaging with what is said, without really increasing our knowledge. We watch the next reality TV show because it's easy entertainment, but we don't spend time reading novels or poetry, or even writing our own novels and poetry. We spend time selecting the best filter on Instagram pictures to make the best posts to attract the most followers, but we don't spend time, always, creating meaningful and lasting memories with our friends and family. But however immediately gratifying these activities are, these fast food decisions only lead to short-term satisfaction. Without really engaging with something or somebody, we cannot hope to experience or achieve anything meaningful. Don't get me wrong, none of us can be ultra-productive all of the time. It is important to make sure that you have balance in your life and that you have ways in which you can enjoy relaxing and unwinding. But if you are leaving Cranleigh this term and are possibly looking back on your time, feeling that you could have put more into it, then remember this as you move on, because the next chapter of your life is yet to be written, and the pen is in your hand. Opportunities are waiting to be seized, whether at university or elsewhere. If you still have time left at Cranleigh, then it is not too late to make sure you are giving your all to school life, so that when your turn comes to leave, you have no regrets. In A.A. Milne's most well-known of stories, Winnie the Pooh comments to his friend Piglet, "How lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. How lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard." I hope those leaving are able to relate to this sentiment, but it's not all about luck. The more effort you have put into your life at Cranleigh, the more you will have to take from it. For each and every one of us, there are beginnings and endings. It is we ourselves who shape what happens in between through our effort and commitment. I also hope that for everyone who is leaving this term, the memories you take with them will be happy ones, but that you will think not only about what you've had and what you're losing, but also about what you've taken for granted. If you can do this, then the next time you come to say goodbye, and there will be more goodbyes, it should be more about the former and less about the latter. Because the very best part of your book is still being written.